Yeah, I mean, I think it's all good points. You think about a place where the culture, the structure is set in Pittsburgh, maybe unlike any other place. It's been established for 2 decades, longer than that, if we're being honest. But under Tomlin for 2 decades, to now go to a place in Dallas where the structure and the culture is anything but established with a new head coach coming in and Brian Schottenheimer. And so, Coach, you know Brian Schottenheimer. I remember you talking to him right after one of our Dallas games. Who is he? What is he about? And what kind of a building is he going to be walking into in Pickens?
Well, Brian is a great guy. He's a football background all the way. He was 10 or 11 years old when I met him. I was working for his dad, Marty, in Kansas City. He's football all the way. And I know he likes talent and he wants to bring this together, but I'm not sure what type of room he's walking into, Rodney. We saw last year guys with podcasts and guys making statements and we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And you talked about the Cowboys needing to settle down and just play football. And now you bring a guy in that never seems to be excited or happy about his role in George Pickens. I just don't know how all this is going to work together.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about George Pickens. I think a part of his disappointment or frustration there is so many quarterbacks, all the different quarterbacks he's had to deal with, the inconsistency at the quarterback position, but also a lot of immaturity on his part. And that's going to be up to the Dallas Cowboys locker room, guys like CeeDee Lamb, guys like Dak Prescott. Those two guys are two of the hardest working guys on the team. They're going to have to really embrace this guy, bring him under and say, hey, man, this is another opportunity you get. You mess up this opportunity, it may not happen for you after this. Grab him, bring him in the weight room, do everything that you can to invest in this kid. If you can do that, and sometimes coach change is good. I mean, now he's going to a bigger market. He's got a lot of eyes on him. There's going to be a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of temptations off the field that he's going to have to deal with. So his teammates really need to rally behind him. But if I'm a guy in that locker room, I'm ecstatic because I'm like, wow, we get a super talented kid. Now it's up to us to help bring him along.
And that's what they're going to have to do, because if I'm looking at it from with my coaching hat on, I'll sit there and say, okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a very good defense last year. They struggled on offense. This is their best player. Why are they giving him to us for a third round pick next year? Extremely talented guy. Why are they giving him to us when they need offense and they need help and they need weapons?
Coach, I'm gonna tell you why.
Because
I'm gonna tell you why, because I had some coaches tell me, and I talked to several players, and they said, look, this kid is ultra talented, but day to day, it's so tough dealing with all the antics, dealing with the lateness, dealing with, just all the little things. It takes away from it. So yes, it is a distraction. And when you don't have a super tight or a super great locker room in terms of leadership, it should be some question marks, but there's no question, coach, this kid is one of the most talented players in the National Football League. And you get a guy like him, he can make an immediate impact. I think he's going to come in. I think, they might have a couple problems with him or whatever, but I think on the football field, he's going to be outstanding. I think he's going to 60, 70 catches, 8 or 9 touchdowns, maybe 9 to 1,100 yards. I think this kid's going to be outstanding.
Well, Jack, you know what I'm seeing here? I'm seeing the difference between a player and a coach. The player is saying, man, I got a teammate that's coming that can make some plays for me. He can score points. He can get us ahead. And I'm sitting there as a coach thinking, I got a million headaches coming my way. Mike Tomlin is one of the best I know at accepting people for who they are, getting the most out of them, working with them, and working with quirky personalities. He couldn't do it. So do I think
Coach, let me just say this. Think about last year. Tomlin, to me, I think Tomlin has to be better dealing with the distractions, because last year wasn't just about Pickens. Last year, at times, we saw that defense struggle, giving up big plays, yelling and fighting or screaming at each other. We watched that. So it wasn't like it was just George Pickens. They had some disagreements and some controversy on the defensive side of the ball. So to me, I look at Tomlin saying he has to be better as a coach to eliminate some of those distractions. And yes, he's been fantastic over his career, but last year, I don't think he did a great job as a coach eliminating those distractions. And that's the one thing that I look at, because Coach Belichick would always say one of the first things he would say, guys, we have to eliminate distractions. He has the signs around the locker room, eliminate the distractions. And then all of a sudden you look at George Pickens, say, okay, is he truly a distraction? For me, I'm willing to give up a third rounder, sixth rounder for a guy this talented. This guy is just so talented. And yes, it's a crapshoot, coach. You roll the dice, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm willing to take a chance on this level of talent.
Do you think this is desperation on the part of Dallas?
Yes and no. I think they saw an opportunity to go out and get a great player, and I think, yeah, there's a risk to it. There's a downside to it, but there's a great upside to it. If this kid comes in and if he loves Dallas, and if guys like Michael Irvin come in and talk to him, Emmitt Smith, and really rally behind this guy, I think he can do it, coach. I think if they can put the safeguards in place, that he can be a good citizen, get to the locker room, work out, do all the things he has to do, and play well on Sunday, I think it can be done.
Mm, mm. Well, it's not a trade and then sign scenario. So regardless if he was in Pittsburgh or if he was in Dallas, I view this as a 1-year rental. It's a 1-year tryout, and they're not just trying out for the Cowboys, or he wouldn't have just been trying out for the Steelers. He's trying out for 32 NFL teams. He's trying to say, I can play wide receiver in the NFL, and I'm mature enough now to handle it as I approach my mid-20s. Whether or not that answer is yes or no, I think the risk on the Dallas part is just a third-round pick, Rodney, to your point. It's just a third-round pick. If it doesn't work out, you burn a third-round pick and you move on with your life. So is a third-round pick, is the price worth it, Coach, do you think, with everything that's in the water, everything that Dallas knows that they're getting with Pickens as a player, and with what comes with them in the locker room too?
Yeah, the price is absolutely worth it, and they didn't give up much to do it. But here's my problem. Here's a guy who wants the ball, no question about it. He's never going to be the number one receiver in Dallas. CeeDee Lamb is going to be the number one receiver. So
Yep.
is he going to be satisfied being the number two option? If he is, it could be great for him. I just don't know from what I've seen in Pittsburgh. And again, I just keep going back to, why is Pittsburgh getting rid of him when they need offense?
Right.
Yeah, he didn't want to be in Pittsburgh. It was obvious. If as a player, if you want to be somewhere, you're going to show the excitement, you're going to show the energy. He didn't want to be. So, and then he comes in a situation where he knows he has an all-pro in CeeDee Lamb. So he's not coming there saying, hey, I'm going to be the number one receiver. What he's saying is, hey, I got Dak Prescott. Yeah, we're going to run the football, but we're going to pass the ball a lot. I'm going to get my share of opportunities. People are going to continue to double team CeeDee Lamb. And now it's me. And I think he has a great opportunity to come in, play football, and just make plays. And that's what they need. They need a legit number two receiver. Jalen Tolbert is solid, but he's a third receiver. And then you got Ferguson at the tight end. They went out and got some young guys to run the football. I absolutely love this pick. And I know, Coach, there's a chance. But like Jack said, it's a 1-year rental. He's extremely cheap. And if he acts a fool, you can get rid of him and you can move on. And then other teams, the other 31 teams, are looking and saying, you know what? Mike Tomlin tried it. Jerry Jones even gave him an opportunity. You know what? This kid can't get it done. We're going to move on. So I think he's looking in the mirror, and his agents and parents and people are telling him, like, look, man, you are on America's team now. You got a great opportunity. Don't screw this up. So now it's on him. And it's cheap. Like Jack said, it's a third round. They're not paying him a lot of money. So I just absolutely love it. You get a chance to get a superstar like this. And I've compared him to Randy Moss at times, but this kid is just ultra talented, Coach.
No, you're right. And if it does serve as a wake-up call, and he says, you know what, I got to get myself together and be the best wide receiver I can be for the Cowboys, it could work out great, because there's no question they're getting a very talented receiver.
But also, Jack, I look at within the division. You looking within the division, the Eagles have gotten better on the defensive side of the ball. They've gotten better at linebacker. They have a lot of depth in the secondary. You look at the Giants, they've gotten better on defense. Abdul Carter, the help that they've gotten in the secondary. And the Washington Commanders, they're going to be better too. So the Cowboys needed to be aggressive. They needed to go out and get a guy that can make plays, not just a guy that's there like a Christian Kirk. You need a player that can play like a George Pickens, that can bring some dynamic playmaking down the field and take some pressure off of CeeDee Lamb. So I just love it, man.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.